So Awesome Rants made a new video, and after listening to just like the first minute, I had to turn it off, download it, and make this video a response, because she seems rather glum vis-a-vis her YouTube experience. And I can't help but think that there is a very faint possibility that I myself might have the most minuscule scintilla of responsibility in this. So, I downed a handful of Adderall, this is my second energy drink. I could tear sheet metal with my eyebrows, but I'm going to devote that energy to being really nice.
Commenters, I'm not solely disillusioned with the repulsive ideas of internet people on one particular issue. I'm not even just disillusioned with internet people. I thought I was at first. People online seem way more stupid than in real life, which is strange because they are in real life. They are real. It's not like online people are separate from real people. So yeah, after uploading my first few videos in a while, I was feeling pretty shorable. I was feeling shorable. Reading through the comments gave me this uneasy sense of disappointment and contempt and pretension and a sense of confidence in myself and a lack of confidence in the world, which is sort of a strange idea considering that I'm a constituent of the world. These emotions weren't bubbling out of me simply because of the low-hanging fruit, you know, the racists or the homophobes or the sexists or the D-bags who don't know how to use punctuation. Nah, it wasn't them. I think I was more disillusioned with the people who were eloquent and articulate and thoughtful maybe even, and educated and yet—
Well, good news, look like I ain't not be responsible nevermore anyhow.
That still had really repulsive ideas, like anti-feminists.
Now, you strike me as a young lady who selects her words very, very precisely, which is why, unlike with other people, I'm gonna say this to you. It's funny that you use the word repulsive. I have every reason to believe that that's the best word for what you're saying. But that's a feeling, and really think about that. You're repulsed by these ideas. You want them to get away from you, you want to get away from them. Now, think about a Christian. Now, you can be very polite and cordial and rational and try to explain to a Christian that there's no God. But, as often as not, they will become increasingly emotional as you do so. Because these emotions are their way of not listening to you. And I'm not saying that any of these ideas are rational or worthwhile, but you don't know if you have an emotional reflex to push them away, like a Christian does with the idea that there's no God.
Because those ideas are repulsive. As an optimist, I tried to formulate some sequence of thought that made it so that internet people weren't stupid. People often say that the anonymity that the internet provides brings out the worst in people, and to some extent I think that that's true.
Well, just to get ahead of the curve on that one, passport, blanked out anything that could be used to steal my identity, Raymond Robert Wallace. And, well, I don't want to give you my address, but I live in Kansas City, and this is the best proof I got for that, Kansas City Power and Light bill, so I'm a little less anonymous now, Tori. Let's be friends.
Hank Green, whom many of you have probably realized I follow quite closely, has actually said he thinks that it brings out the worst people. In other words, people who are already a-holes and d-bags share their ideas online because it's a safe place of sorts.
Hey, this brings it back around to that last video I made to you, Tori. Now, consider this. You're surrounded by people who are like yourself. People who want approval, respect, success in academic and professional arenas. And so they, like you, aren't just going to tell something to somebody that they're going to find offensive. They don't want to ruffle feathers. So even if they see something about you, they won't say it. Or maybe if they're just like you, they themselves won't see it. But me? Look at me, not a guy who cares a whole lot about academic and professional excellence, so I have the luxury of telling you things that maybe your friends aren't going to. Now, it might come off as hateful because you're not accustomed to it, but a lot of things can seem worse than they are if they're beyond your experience, beyond your little world.
You know, in comparison to the real world. Again, real, I mean face-to-face. But I don't think that either of those ideas really encapsulate the complexity of everything. Being an optimist was very nice. I felt that it was honest and humble and not pretentious like the online YouTube atheist little sheeple.
Yes, the online atheists. A group of people who share the same intellectual paradigm and worldview, and they go around making sure everybody understands that that is the right one to have. Now, I'd like for you to take what I just said, and then draw the obvious inferences from it.
Sheeple. Rhetorical pun of sorts. I used to think that people were really good. That people were always trying and hardworking and way more thoughtful and perceptive than we give each other credit for. I thought that people tried really hard to be kind and logical and were naturally compassionate. I thought that people sometimes just succumbed to anger and impulse and tragedy and every other negative human experience imaginable.
Here's where I get to tell you to cheer up. You weren't necessarily wrong about that, but being logical and kind and compassionate, etc. These can manifest in numerous different ways, and if you're only familiar with a single or maybe 3 or 4 types of modes of expression, and not others, you might not be able to recognize them quite so easily. Perhaps they don't manifest in the manner you're familiar with, so you don't recognize them for what they are. That is a possibility. A very real possibility. And once you realize that, you'll realize you were right all along. People are good. They're compassionate, they're logical. They want to help other people. There's just a lot of confounding factors in how they manage it.
And that's true. I mean, yeah, it's all true, but...
Okay, see, this is why I should start watching videos before I reply to them, because my previous assurance was obviously superfluous. Sorry.
It's just not good enough anymore. For me, or for my friends, or for children, or for the world, or for the very few very, very, very good people that live in it. It shouldn't be good enough. Being human shouldn't be an excuse to have repulsive ideas.
Well, eating a bunch of Adderalls like they're Skittles. Not a repulsive idea, but not one of my best ideas either. Heart doesn't sound like it's exploding like an overripe grapefruit. Maybe it wasn't such a bad idea. Anyway, that repulsion you feel by those ideas is a very human trait. And I'm not saying that you need to have an excuse for it. But hell, if what's good enough really matters, examine that.
The difference between ideas and people. I at one point pretty adamantly opposed the feminist label, and I wasn't a dumb kid. As humans, we have the tendency to hold ourselves to certain ideas as if they are ourselves, as if they are our identities. And in some cases I get that. And I think that that's important to do. But
Gonna have to agree to disagree with you on that one, holding those ideas as part of your identity. I mean, my opinion is based on, pretty much all of the terrible wrongs and atrocities, misunderstandings, etc. that tend to stem from that, and how it generally tends to impede knowledge in the sense that you won't listen to things counter to that idea, even if they are factual reality. So, I mean, yes, agree to disagree.
in other cases, when we have no idea what we're talking about and the only reason we've engaged in any intellection on a particular issue is because of a lame internet bandwagon like the men's rights movement or YouTube atheism, in those cases, we can't do that. And
well, then I really don't see what your problem with me is. I just find people who have glaring inconsistencies in the things they say, and then I indulge in my favorite pastime, wiseassery. Not any bandwagon. People going around blibbity blabbity with some stupid shit. I just like to, make sport of their idiocy. Nothing wrong with that. It's a good-hearted, fun thing.
even in cases where we can, it's still complicated. Example, I'm half gay.
And not to trivialize that, but here's a story. Once I was on the treadmill, and my MP3 player broke, and I was losing my running motivation. So I start singing, ain't nothing gonna break my stride, nobody gonna hold me down, oh no, I got to keep on moving. So I'm at least half gay. Just throwing that out there.
Gay. For obvious reasons, I'm quite philosophically uncomfortable with being polite to homophobes, and yet I often am. Because though I hold myself to the value of you know, human rights as if it's my identity, because, you know, it is. Though I hold myself to that value so closely, I still don't draw the line. The line, the ultimate line that all of you completely understand and can define, because you're up there and I don't need to articulate myself more clearly at all. I used to say that I treated homophobes kindly because people are more important than ideas. But the thing is, some ideas reduce and devalue people, and other ideas empower people. And thus ideas are important. Politics is important. Rights are important.
Well, then I would ask you to keep an open mind vis-a-vis the validity of politics, and, you know, just review my last few videos where I speak of politics, and just remember, maybe, just maybe, I have a little bit of hillbilly wisdom in there.
If it weren't for certain radical ideas, I, a queer woman of color, would not be talking to this camera right now. I would not—
Listen, I sang Ace of Base on a treadmill, okay? Queer is my word, you can't use it. And, you know, I'm just gonna finish this video now because I am overcome with the insane desire to clean my whole apartment. Ooh, meth. Have a nice day.